Welcome creators, I'm the Hommeyosh, and this is my channel, where we inspire creativity, explore game development tools and software that bring Unreal Engine projects to life. This shield was modeled in Blender, textured, exported as FBX, and imported into Unreal Engine with the materials working correctly. Now I'm going to show you exactly how to do this step by step. So if you're working with Blender and Unreal Engine, and you want a quick way to create props and bring them into your game project, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's jump into Blender. Okay, now we go ahead and start our Blender editor. So I'm using version 5, but you can follow along with any other version you would like, but I'm going to go to Generals, and this has a startup cube. I'm going to go ahead and delete that startup cube. I'm going to delete the light, and I'm going to click on this camera here. I'm going to go over here into the transforms, and I want to go ahead and hit 0 for Y, hit tab, for X, 0 for Y, hit tab, 0 for Z, I hit tab, want rotation 0, and Y is already 0, so I'm going to hit tab, Z I want 0, and I hit tab. Now you want to keep the scale at 1, all that's fine. So I'm going to go back into the viewport here, and I'm going to go ahead and use my grab tool, my move tool, and we're going to go ahead and move this up. I'm going to make sure it is out of my way. That looks pretty good. Next I'm going to hit Shift and A. I'm going to go under my mesh here, and I'm going to hit UV sphere. So the next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and grab my scale tool. So I'm going to hit under the Z axis, and I'm just going to bring this down. You might want to get a little side view so you can look at it. You want to get this as flat as possible. Okay, so the next thing I want to do, I'm going to turn on my proportional editing. That's this little dot here up top. And I hit my little drop down here. I'm going to put it on a smooth. Okay, so with that selected, I'm going to go into the edit mode. There's two ways. You can go under your object mode here, hit the drop down and go to edit mode, or you can just go ahead and hit tab, which would tab you in. Now it already has the vertices selected. You can hit edges or squares, but we want the vertices. So we're going to go ahead and select the middle vertices. I'm going to get my grab tool. It's over here in the orientation, next to the orientation, little drop downs there, little tools. And I'm just going to pull up. I'm going to hit Control Z because my little dot here was not selected. So, okay, not selected. So with that selected, we're going to pull it up, and you can see it's smooth. So it gives it a little slope here. And it dragged in the bottom with it. So we're going to keep it like this. I'm going to go ahead into the object mode. And the next thing I'm going to do is right here in my properties, where all my tools are, all the way down you have materials. I'm going to go ahead and select a new material, and I'm just going to name it front. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is, since I have that selected, I got the new material selected, I am going to go under the shading. Now I'm going to have this image, a link to this image if you want to follow along, or if you want to use your own image, that'll be fine. Just follow along the same steps. And I have this Captain America image here, so we're going to put that on the front. So I'm going to go, all I'm going to do is take the image by holding the left click mouse button, and I'm just going to go ahead and drag it in and let it go. And as you can see, the image appeared. This is what the image looks like. And all we're going to do is, since we have this image modifier, we're going to go ahead, we're going to go ahead, select the color and drag it out to base color. And then the alpha, we're going to drag that in. So that's all we do in the shading. As you can see in the viewport, it's not lining up the way we want. So I'm going to go ahead, and what I want to do now is I'm going to go back into the layout. I'm going to select edit mode, I'm going to go under just the faces and make sure that we are on the top. So I'm using the camera to make sure I have my top view. So this is my top. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and make sure just the top is selected. Now it did select some of the sides, so all we have to do is go hit shift and click on the edges that we do not want it to have. So like that. So there we go. We just got the top view. So now with just the top selected, we can go into UV editing, and there's our top, everything we have. So what I want to do now is I just want to go under UV, and as the drop downs, I'm going to project from view. So what I want to do is make sure that my view is lined up with this box. We have a nice little view here. There we go. So I'm going to hit the UV and I'm going to project from view. And as you can see, there's our view right there. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and scale this out. And we could hit the move tool, make sure it moves correctly. Now don't worry about the bottom. Just go ahead and make sure it is moved to where we want. Okay, so now if you go back into layouts, you go ahead and set your render, you can go ahead and see that we have our image on there. Now it's distorting it on the back. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go into the edit mode. And you can also just hit select, but we're just going to get a bottom view. And we're just going to go ahead and select the bottom only. Remember on the sides, make sure the sides are selected just right. Oops, no, we don't want the top of the sides. Come on. We don't want this selected. We want this selected. Make sure everything, we do not got anything that overlaps with our image. We are good. So the next thing I'm going to do is under materials, I'm going to hit this plus button here. And so it's going to add a material slot. So now we hit new material and we just call this back. And we hit enter. We can keep it white. You can also hit the metallic. You want to do that 0.8. And this we want 0.25. Okay. So now the next thing that we already have this material, what we do, since we have this back selected and the back only, I'm going to hit assign. Now that changes the back. We got the UV on the front. We got the back on a different color. And if you could see, if we go to our object mode, it is a little bit shiny, but it still looks kind of distorted with the lines in there. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go under my modifiers. I'm going to add a modifier, and under generate, you'll see under the drop down, what you want to look for, subdivision surface, and click on that. And I want to change this to the level viewport 6 and have my rendering about a 3. Now you can see it's nice and smooth on back and front. So now what I want to do is I want to make sure this modifier is applied. You can cancel it if you messed up and try again if you have any problems, but once you get it to where you like it, just go ahead and hit apply modifier. So everything's looking good here. We got a few more things to do. What I want to do next, with the mesh shield selected, you want to go ahead and hit Control A. Now this is your transforms, location, rotation, scale, all transforms is what you want. So we're going to go and hit all transforms. Now if you would go under your object's properties, you'll see that everything, the location, XYZ, rotation, XYZ has been changed, and the scale has all been changed to 1. Now this is great. This is what we want. So now we can go ahead and export this. So we're going to go up to the left-hand corner. We're under files. We're going to click on that, and there's going to be a drop down, and you'll have our exports, which there's another drop down, and you want to hit FBX. Now this is good. If you don't have this menu, try it again. You want to get this menu to appear. So the first thing you want to do under patch mode here, you want to go ahead and make sure that it says copy. And the patch mode is copy. Sorry, path mode is copy, batch mode is off. So we have our object selected. Actually, object is selected. But just to make sure, I'm going to cancel this out. I'm going to go under my camera, and you can keep this on. Right now is a good time. If you want to get any shots of your view, what you do is you just go under the rendering. Sorry, I messed that up. Go back under layouts. Go under render inside the window, and you can go ahead and render your image. You select that. You can add some light if you like, but right now we just want to go ahead and delete this camera. Okay, so we have our object selected. We got our two materials, and that is everything is good. We can go ahead and hit shift, make sure everything's selected. Now go back under files, and we're going to go under export and FBX. We're going to get this. Now as you can see, our path mode we need to change back to copy and make sure our batch mode is off. We're going to hit selected, limited to selected objects. Okay, so our scale is 1. That is good. Now we're going to go ahead and change these values. And everything, make sure it's -Z forward and Y is up. Now apply transforms, which we already applied, but just to make sure. And click down for geometry. We want to make sure we have smoothing selected, and just go ahead and hit face. So that's everything that we need. We can go ahead and if we had any animations or amateurs, we can go ahead and select those, but we don't have any. We're going to deselect all that. So everything looks good for our export. So all we need now is a title and a place that we're going to put it. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit cap shield. I'm just going to cap SH or whatever you want to call it. And then you want to have a placement where you're going to go and place it. So I have a nice little place that I'm placing mine. If you know the name, you can go ahead up here to the search, put the name of the folder that you would like to find. Okay, now that I got my folder, my destination where I'm going to put it, I can just go ahead and export FBX. Okay, so all that is exported. Just make sure that it's in your file. And let's go ahead and open Unreal Engine. You can save your Blender project if you would like, if you don't want to have both of them on. But I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to make sure I'm just going to pull my Blender and throw it over to the right here. And I'm going to go ahead into my epics, and I'm going to open up my Unreal Engine. I'm just going to open up the project that I've been working on. Okay, now that I'm in my Unreal Engine, what I'm going to do is make a folder. Just click somewhere in here, new folder. I'm just going to call this Blender. I know where I put stuff. Oops, what happened? That's not what I wanted. Let me go ahead and create a folder and call it Blender. There it is. So now I'm going to go into the Blender, and I'm going to go to where I placed my FBX, and I'm just going to go ahead and drag this in, just the FBX file. Make sure you have the FBX, not the FBM. You want the FBX, and you go ahead and drag it into the folder that you created. Move this out of the way. Give it some time to do its thinking. Okay, after it does its thinking, you'll get this import content. It will pop up. So what you want to do, under common, use source name for assets, scene name for subfolder, and asset type subfolder. So this goes ahead and places it where you want, and you can put whatever name you want. I'm just putting Captain SH. Okay, so my asset name is there. Everything, just want to make sure everything's correct. Place. It's going to make a new material. I don't need to select anything else because we are not importing anything really, you know, no mesh or anything. I mean, no amateurs or no mannequins or anything like that. It's just a simple mesh. And then we're going to go ahead and import. So give that some time. Okay, now our import is done. You can see that we have our main folder here, and it went ahead and put our static mesh, our textures, and materials all in their own folders. So we just go back here, we can look at our static mesh. And there's our shield right there. Now we can get a better look at it if I just go ahead and drag it into the scene. We can just go ahead, let's hit F to scale on it. I'm just going to go ahead and hit E to rotate. So we got our back and we got our front. And you see it's a little shiny, yeah, because that does have the metallic materials. And we can go ahead and I can go into and get a better view of this by just go ahead and hitting play and walking up to it. So I'm going to start, I'm going to walk up to the shield, and it's just placed there. It's a little big, but we can scale it down, and it looks pretty good. I like it. Alright creators, that's it for this tutorial. If this video helped you out, like and subscribe to the channel. I also created a new Discord, so if you have any questions or want to connect with other creators, follow the link in the Discord and join the server. And like always, stay inspired, keep creating, and I'll see you in the next video.